Hello and welcome to Total Health with Dr. Nick, where my purpose is to inspire, empower, and motivate you to live longer, healthier, and more abundant lives. In today's video, I want to talk to you about what are the worst fats that you could eat on the keto diet, or any diet for that matter, whether you're doing paleo or keto, it doesn't matter. These are by far the fats that you need to be avoiding. But before we get started, I always like to give a shout out to our keto rock stars. And this one is to John Z, known as Mr. Z 1958. And by the way, I love your little, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll put it up on the screen. But his picture there, it says, God is not dead, and no, he's not. Very good. I love it. I love it. Anyway, Dr. Nick, thanks for everything. Been watching your vids since I started doing keto about 6 months ago. Off BP meds, no more arthritis, joints feel great, sleep apnea gone, and more benefits. Went from a 38 waist to a 33, which, by the way, anything over 35 in men, it's very dangerous. Big indicator of belly fat, which shows that you have a high risk for heart disease. So getting it down to 33, excellent. Doing strict keto, you'd be proud. Also intermittent fasting, 20 hours off, 4 hours of eating. I'm used to it now, and it's not only easy, but I'm never, ever hungry. Oh, by the way, also lost 62 pounds, so almost a whole person there. I arrived at my goal weight of getting back to my wedding weight. Might not sound like a big deal. No, John, it is a big deal. You are a rock star. But that was 40 years ago. Went from 236 pounds to 174. Again, thank you for the guidance, encouragement, knowledge, and thanks to God for the strength. Keep teaching and keep us on track. John Z from Illinois. And guys, thank you, first of all, John Z. I don't have to tell you, but that makes you, my brother, a keto rock star. But that's really what it's about. It's about transformation. This isn't about losing weight. This isn't about teaching people just how to drop some numbers on a scale. That's really not it at all. It's about transformation. It's about people getting off of their meds, getting off of antidepressants, getting to where they can have a life again. Because, guys, if you think about it, your health is your greatest asset. It's the single most important thing in your life, whether you want to start a business, whether you want to travel, whether you want to spend time with your wife, your children, be able to go all over the world, play tennis, golf, whatever it may be, go to Disney World if that's what you want to do, or climb Mount Everest. You have to have your health for that. So no matter how much money you have, I guarantee you would give it all up to have your health back, because it's your single most important asset. So this is what this is about for me. This is why I started this channel. This is why I do what I do, because I'm looking for the transformation, and I want that for you too. I want you to have transformation. And so if you're doing great, keep it up. But if you need more help, hey, reach out to us. We just started this past week our Ultimate Keto with Dr. Nick course. If you need more help, yeah, it might be a fit for you. If not, that's okay. But if you're looking for more help, more guidance, we have got the most amazing, most comprehensive, best program you'll ever find anywhere out there. Check it out in the link. Once again, click on it, see if it's a fit for you. If not, that's okay too. We'll help you out in other ways. But if you are a fit for it, then by all means sign up, and that way we can help you even better. So let's jump on into this. So, like I said, the worst fats for the keto diet, or any diet for that matter, or whether you're on a diet or not, you shouldn't be eating these kind of fats anyway. And they come in the form of oils, they come in the form of meats, so they're all different kinds of fats here. But let's jump in. And why are we talking about this anyway? Because if we just look at, say, heart disease numbers over the past century, it is staggering just how bad everything's gotten. And if I was to ask you, despite the fact we have more low fat in our diets, except if you're doing keto, of course, more low fat in our diets than any other time in our history, we have the worst heart disease than any other time in our history. We'll look at the numbers. Back in 1900, heart disease was extremely rare. People didn't typically die of heart disease. Butter consumption was 18 pounds a year per person. Vegetable oil consumption was about 11 pounds per year per person. Now, you fast forward out to 2012. 2012, heart disease is the leading cause of death at this point. We look at the numbers, butter consumption is down to 4. Why? Because we declared a war on saturated fat. Saturated fat is bad, you should avoid it. The news coverage was horrible. Well, if you watched one of my last videos, I talked about some of the biggest myths about that, and one of them is that fats are dangerous. It's dangerous to eat too much fat in your diet, and it's not. We know that through the research and what it shows in the ketogenic diet. Vegetable oil consumption went up, now get this, to 59 pounds per year per person, and heart disease is skyrocketing. So no wonder. Just look at the scale, look at the numbers. About this point in the mid-1950s, we declared a war on fats. Fats are bad. Don't eat fats. Take them out of your diet. Eat more of your healthy whole grains, we started to say. More carbohydrate consumption, but also, too, while lard and butter and all the healthy fats went down, all the whole food fats, the ones that came from either animal sources or whole foods directly from the food itself, where it was more pressed and more natural how we were able to take it out of the food, we started eating more of these manufactured, and I do mean manufactured vegetable oils. It went through the roof right here, and you start to look at the amount of heart disease, cancer, diabetes. It is exponentially going up, and it's one of the big reasons. It's directly linked, of course, to what we're putting in our bodies, but from these vegetable oils and these dangerous trans fats and oils. So what makes them so dangerous? Well, just first of all, let's talk about how they're processed. I mean, that's one of the biggest ways. For the GMO, so they're genetically modified organisms, which means they're not even really the foods that what they originally were set out to be. These are all, engineered in a laboratory. We've changed, and we look at wheat. Years ago, wheat wasn't as bad. It was actually okay, because einkorn wheat, the kind of wheat that was used in biblical times, was a decent wheat to use. They then started hybridizing it, cross-hybridizing it over and over 25,000 times, and now we have the wheat that we have today. And for those of you who remember the song in the United States here, America the Beautiful, where you have amber waves of grain, where you picture the wheat, 4 or 5 feet tall, blowing in the wind in the fields, and children playing and all that. It's not like that anymore. It's 18 inches tall. It's about up to your kneecaps. It's dwarf wheat now, so it's not even the same wheat. It doesn't look like it. You wouldn't even recognize it, because everything is GMO. Vegetables are hydrogenated, or hydrogenated, however you like to pronounce it, which means that we added hydrogen to it to make it more stable. That way it was more spreadable, like your margarines, like your shed spreads and things like that. By doing that, we totally made it oxidized and rancid. We made it so much worse. We heat them at high temperatures so that way we can process them in the whole processing of these oils. It makes them go rancid because they're oxidized during the oxidation process. They're processed with petroleum solvents. They use hexane and things like that, which are, these are carcinogens. These are dangerous chemicals that they're using to process these oils, and they're treated with harsh chemicals again, so that way they can try to clean it and get the smell out, because a lot of these oils smell terrible, and they have to make the color right and the smell right, so that way it's actually palatable, so that people don't want to just absolutely throw up while eating these. Not only that, high levels of polyunsaturated fatty acids. Now, there are some PUFAs, or polyunsaturated fatty acids, you've maybe heard me talk about it in previous videos, that are good for you. There are omega-3 PUFAs that are good for you, and those are perfectly fine. The problem here is that we have very high levels of omega-6. Now, do we need some omega-6? Yes, we do. The ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 is typically 1:1 or 1:4. Okay, you can have a little higher omega-6. But the standard diet, the standard American diet, and what everybody's eating today is typically 1:20 or even 1:30. So we're way too high with omega-6 fats, which are highly inflammatory. And of course, inflammation has been linked to so much different disease processes in our country here in the United States and probably around the world. So very high levels of omega-6. Additives, pesticides, chemicals, bleaches, once again, heat, oxidizing it. They're extremely unstable. They oxidize easily. They go rancid very easily because of the amount of double bonds and so on that are in it. And this is, of course, connected to inflammation, cancer, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, heart disease, and things like that. So once again, if I haven't spelt it out clearly enough, you need to be avoiding these oils and fats. Now, which ones are we talking about here? Well, your basic vegetable oil. Remember, back in the 70s and 80s, it was all about Wessonality and Wesson oil, and the vegetable oils were supposed to be so popular. You don't want to be using these vegetable oils. You don't want to use them at all. So Wesson and things like that, avoid them. Soybean oil, canola oil. First of all, canola oil is a really bad oil it's actually an oil from Canada. That's where it gets the name canola, Canadian oil, because it was originally called rapeseed oil. And nobody wanted to buy rapeseed oil. They couldn't even get anybody to buy it. So they couldn't change the name enough times. And they finally came up with canola oil. And it was actually an industrial oil that people use that were able to then take it and go through all these refinement processes to try to get it so it was palatable. Once again, it was terrible tasting. It stunk. They had to bleach it and they had to clean it and they had to keep changing the chemical makeup of it with, once again, things like hexane to make it so that people wouldn't obviously throw up using it. So all these oils, corn oil, bad, once again, for other reasons we talked about, but of course, GMO, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, peanut oil. A lot of peanuts, people have allergies to peanuts, but one of the reasons why people have allergies to peanuts is because peanuts grow under the ground and they have a very porous shell. And peanuts tend to be very moldy, so if you're going to have peanuts at all, you want to use something called the Valencia peanut, not your standard regular peanuts, because Valencia peanuts are grown differently. But sesame oil, and I get questions, I used grapeseed oil years ago. I used to use it all the time thinking it was healthy. It comes from grapes, and grapes have resveratrol, so it must be good. It's an antioxidant. Not this oil, not the way these seed oils are processed. And that's really where it comes from. Not that grapes are bad. It's how these oils are processed with the heating, with the chemicals, with the bleaches, with the smells and the agents to change the smell and the color. Safflower oil, it sounds so nice. It must be from a sunflower or something. No, you don't want to use sunflower oil either. Shortening, margarine, now we're getting into the trans fats, and you want to stay away from the trans fats. Of course, they are so linked to things like cancer, and we used to put them in our food all the time, not me personally, but if you got any kind of cakes or cupcakes or Hostess this and that, they were loaded with trans fats. Now, I want to get to meats here. I have bad meats. What does that mean? Well, not all meat is bad, of course, and I certainly understand if the economics is that you have to buy certain kind of meats, but your commercial meats are typically not very good. The reason is because you have to look at what the cows are eating, and you're going to be eating what they were eating. So the cows are eating grain. That's what they feed it. You want to fatten up a cow, you feed it grain. You don't give it fat. So everybody's worried about, fat making you fat. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about the grain that the cows are given to fatten them up. And guess what it does to us? It fattens us up too. But here's the thing. If the grains or the cows are fed grain rather than their normal food of grass, that means their omega-6 ratio goes up very high. So their fat, which by the way on a grass-fed fat means the omega-3 is higher, you could eat the fat right on the cow. In fact, a lot of people who are very interested in a carnivore diet, one thing you have to be careful of with that is that you're just eating meat many times. A true carnivore diet is when you're eating the nose to the tail, okay? Or as they say, the rooter to the tutor, okay? Nose to tail means you're eating all of it. You're eating organ meat, you're eating connective tissue, you're eating, pretty much everything. So, even the bone broth, you could even boil that down. So you're eating all of the animal. And back then, when animals were just pasture raised, grown in the fields, eating grass, things like that, then it's all good. All that fat is good. But with the commercially raised meats, the fat's not good. It's omega-6 fat. Now, a lot of people get on to me because in one of my previous videos, I talked about clean versus dirty keto. Okay? This is a lot of dirty keto right here. And people are saying, but you know what? I did dirty keto. I still lost weight. I get it. That's okay. But just understand, if you're going to be putting in your diet a lot of these dangerous fats, these bad fats, thinking, well, hey, I'm still eating fat. Is that okay? Yeah, you're eating fat and that's okay, but you could do better. You can get rid of and clean these up. But people were getting on to me when I kept saying, and I don't mean a lot of people, but they would get on to me and say, well, I could eat bacon, can I? And you could eat bacon from time to time, but understand many of the companies that are processing the pork, okay, there's all kinds of hormones and steroids. They want these animals growing quickly. They want them reproducing fast. They're infected, so they're growing all these animals very quickly to make the bacon that you're going to eat. And typically, it is the wrong ratio. You have the wrong kinds of fats in it. So, yes, if you can get bacon that you've raised yourself, that's eating whatever pigs eat, whatever grubs or things that they can dig out of the ground and, stuff like that, then it's going to be okay. But if they're eating things that really aren't made for them because some farmer, some industrial commercial farmer's trying to fatten them up, then once again, you're not getting the best kind of meat. So that's why that's there. So just be aware of that. So anyway, guys, I hope this was great information for you. I hope I shed some light on really what are the best fats to eat, or the worst fats to eat in this case. By the way, that was a little plug for one of my upcoming videos, which are the best fats that you should be eating, because you want to eat the healthy ones, and that way you get the best results on your keto diet, or even if you're doing paleo, you want to make sure that you're getting the best fats in your diet, not these over here. And like I said before, if any of you want additional help, just let us know. I'll come out and say it. If you want a little more hand-holding, we'll be glad to do that. Just click the link down below and look at the information about our keto course. Like I said, it is the best one out there by far. So anyway, this is Dr. Nick. If you like what we're talking about today, please make sure you like, you share, you comment, and subscribe. I love and appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.